In today's video, I want to share some of the most ridiculous photography mistakes that I've been guilty of. You know, the ones that can really cost you a great shot. Hopefully you'll pick up a few tips to save your own images, or maybe you can share some of your own in the comments section that might help others. Anyway, let's get into it. So we have a Pembrokeshire dangler today, a very rare weather pattern that's brought us some amazing snowy conditions overnight. More on that a little bit later, but I want to get straight into the first photography mistake, and then we'll get on to some photography. So the first point I want to talk about is avoiding unwanted motion blur in your image. Now, I think this is something that we all come up against from time to time. You know, we might be out on a windy day or something like that, and there's a lot of motion blur within the foliage, within the trees, leaves, grasses, all of those sorts of things. And sometimes it's very, very difficult to notice, if you will, at the time of shooting, that those things are blurred in the image. And I think what happens quite a lot is we typically will focus on something in the frame, say a rock, a tree, or maybe a focal point within the image. And quite often we'll zoom into that particular part of the image to check that it's sharp and in focus. And we might not look around the rest of the frame. Even if we're shooting at, say, a 60th of a second or something like that, if it's windy, there will be motion blur, especially in grasses. And that tends to be more prominent in the objects that are closer to the camera. So I would advise, just if it's windy, even if you're shooting with a fast shutter speed, just once you've taken your shot, just zoom in and look around the whole image to see if you've got any unwanted movement within the subjects within your frame, especially in the corners. That can be quite noticeable sometimes if you've got grass moving around in the corners. Removing unwanted motion blur is pretty easy, really. You just simply boost the ISO and just quicken your shutter speed up. So such a simple fix, but can make such a big difference to your image. So I just want to talk about mistake number 2, which is not storing your photographs correctly. Now, this is something I've struggled with a lot in the past. I've got tons of those little mini portable hard drives in my office with photographs on from years and years and years ago, and it's really difficult to find images when you need them. Now, I've also tried cloud storage as well, but the huge amounts of data that I record on a weekly basis, it's just not a viable option. But more recently, I've been using a completely different system, and that is NAS storage. So NAS stands for Network Attached Storage, and this means that you can access your files from your PC, your laptop, your smartphone, anywhere in the world, as long as your hard drive is connected to the internet connection and is powered on, which is absolutely fantastic. And the best thing is, your files are not floating around somewhere in the cloud, they're right in your home, so you know they're nice and safe. Let me show you the device that I'm using. Now, I'm using the UGREENNAS DH2300, who are kindly sponsoring this week's video. And honestly, it's been such a good fit for the way that I work. Now, it takes 2 hard drives, and you can go all the way up to 60 terabytes if you want to, which is a huge amount of space. That's roughly 20 million 3 megabyte images. So yeah, plenty of room for most people, I think. I've got mine set up as a RAID 1 configuration, which basically means every time I write a file to it, it gets saved to both drives simultaneously, meaning should one of those drives ever fail, it's always backed up to the other one as well, which is super important. There is, of course, an upfront cost, but compared to cloud storage, over time it works out massively cheaper. A DH2300 with 12 terabytes of storage costs about £389. And apart from a tiny bit of electricity to run it, that is it. But with something like iCloud, for example, 12 terabytes adds up really fast. By year 5, you're into the thousands. So yeah, a huge saving. Something else that I really like is that the DH2300 is home theatre ready. So you can play your videos directly on your TV. And it's also got smart AI photo management built in as well. So if you want to, say, find photographs of your dogs, you just type in dog and it'll pull up a selection of photos with dogs in, which is just really handy, I think. So yeah, if you're looking for an affordable and reliable storage solution, definitely check out the UGREENNAS. It's currently available on Amazon and the Ugreen web store. Check out the links in the video description where you'll find up to a 15% discount as well. So yeah, a big thanks to Ugreen for supporting the channel. Having a proper storage setup has been a bit of a game changer for me. One extra little thing that I do though is keep my absolute favourite irreplaceable files on a separate portable drive and store it at a different address, maybe with a family member or a friend, just in case, you know, the worst ever happened. It just gives you that bit of extra peace of mind as well. So, as mentioned before, we have a Pembrokeshire dangler. Very strange name, but it is actually a very, very rare weather phenomenon. And yeah, we have one right now, and it's right at the end of autumn as well, which is absolutely fantastic. It means we've got autumn colour and snow, which is just unreal. Now, the Pembrokeshire dangler affects Pembrokeshire, Devon and Cornwall, and it's basically when we get a really cold draft of northerly wind blowing down the Irish Sea here, and then it meets the warmer southerly water, which creates a bit of an updraft, and then we get a very long thin band of really cold, you know, weather like this, snow, blizzards, that type of thing. Now, as you can probably see behind me, it's blue sky over there, which is only probably a mile or so away. So over that way, it's probably completely clear, no snow at all. So it's very, very localised and very rare. Unfortunately, we're sitting right underneath the snow cloud this morning. It's given us about probably 8 inches of snow, which is, yeah, fantastic. It's the most snow that I've seen here in Pembrokeshire since, we moved here, 4 years ago. So absolutely fantastic. So I've just been working some woodland images this morning. Trying to capture some of the autumn foliage with the heavy snow. It's such a joy to be out here. Unreal. This is so much fun. I'm trying to find the tree that I shot before, but I can't find it. Everything looks so different. I think I might just have to give up on that one. This is so much fun though. So as you can see, it's coming down thick and fast at the minute, which is absolutely fantastic, but it does make photography very, very challenging. Now, I found this amazing row of beech trees that we've got behind me, some autumn foliage on there as well, and some wonderful snow clinging to the sides and the contours of these trees, which I'm going to shoot. Now, shooting in these conditions is obviously very, very challenging, isn't it? And what we do tend to find quite often is we get a lot of water droplets on the front of our lens, and that kind of leads me on to the next mistake, and that's just not checking the lens element regularly enough. And it's something that I'm guilty of. I see this quite a lot on workshops as well. I'm often prompting people to check the front element to make sure it's clean. I'm sure we've probably got a few droplets on the lens here. But yeah, I think that's a key thing, just to keep checking as often as possible. Sometimes I'll use one of those rocket blowers to blow the droplets off the front element to save smearing the lens, which happens sometimes when you use a lens cloth. I did see another neat little trick many years ago on a YouTube video, and for the life of me, I do apologise, I can't remember whose video it was, but they were using a circular polarizer to protect the front lens element, which I thought was really good because it allows you to compose your shot through the polarizer, and then when you're ready to take the shot, simply just take the polarizer off. And it's great if it's magnetic as well, and then take your shot and then quickly place it back on again. Just allows you to see your composition, compose the shot without worrying about the element getting completely drenched in water droplets or snow, dirt, muck, whatever it might be. So yeah, that's a great tip, and I do apologise whoever came up with that, but yeah, my memory's terrible. Anyway, I'm going to take some shots in this avenue of beech trees here, and I'll do my best to share that with you. So yes, we've got this amazing avenue here of beech trees. Let me just spin you around so I can show you exactly what I mean. And we've got all of these wonderful contours here in these beech trees as they overhang this ancient pathway. And yeah, it looks absolutely amazing. I love how the snow is clinging to all of these branches and accentuating the shapes. I think that works really well. And just above me here, you can just see the autumnal foliage on the top of these branches here, which I think just adds a nice splash of colour. So I'm going to get a shot framed up here. I'm really doing my best to keep everything free from the droplets. Practice what you preach. I've actually got my lens cloth over the front of my lens there while I talk to you. Hopefully that's keeping things covered up. But yeah, this wonderful avenue of beech trees just looks absolutely fantastic. I love how the snow is clinging to the branches, really accentuating the shapes in the branches. I think it looks really nice. So yeah, I'm having to focus stack this image, focusing down here on the right of these roots as they bury themselves into the pathway here, and maybe one in the midground and one right down the bottom there as well. Making sure, obviously, that my lens element is nice and free from water droplets. Anyway, I think it is time to take this shot. All right, I'm going to be very, very quick. Focus on the roots, take the shot. Focus on the midground, take the shot. Focus on the background, take the shot. Just make sure everything works out okay in terms of the element. So I think that's absolutely fine. What an incredible day. So the snow is turning a little more on the wet side at the minute, but I'm not going to let that deter me from looking for more photographs. Now, another crazy mistake that I've been guilty of in the past, and no doubt will happen again in the future, and I'm sure it happens to many photographers as well, is forgetting to change your settings. Now, settings is obviously something that is super important, isn't it? It determines our exposure and lots of different things like our composition in terms of depth of field. But one of the things that's quite common, or a common mistake, is forgetting to change your settings from the previous shot. So for example, say you're shooting I don't know, maybe a birthday party or something like that indoors, and you've taken some shots and you've been shooting at, say, ISO 3200, and the next morning you go out for sunrise, and in your kind of unawakened state you forget to change your ISO back to its base ISO to get a nice clean landscape photo. I'm sure you've probably done it. I've done it on countless occasions. It's yeah, too many times to remember. But what I tend to do these days is set up some custom modes on my camera. So I've got a landscape custom mode slot. I've actually got 7 different slots on my camera here, and I can set different modes to, or different settings to each one of those slots. So whenever I'm in C7, I always know that I'm going to be shooting at my base ISO. And typically my aperture set at f8 and my shutter speed is 1/100th of a second. And that means that whenever I'm in that mode, I'm always going to be shooting at my base ISO. Even if I change my settings, turn my camera off, turn it back on again, it's always going to be at those original settings. So it's a bit of a fail safe really. So I highly recommend doing that. There's nothing worse than getting home from a landscape photography shoot and finding out you shot everything at ISO 3200 and everything's got a little bit of noise in it. Now, wow, this is absolutely incredible. Right, I think we need to take a photo of this. This is, yeah, unreal. So this oak tree is absolutely amazing. I really need to get a shot of this. I'm going to have to be really, really quick because I'm going to be pointing up. I want to take a vertical panorama of this as these branches stretch out, all lovely and curved and twisted, and some amazing patterns in here obviously the snow is really helping to accentuate that as well. So I am going to get my exposure sorted out. Okay, just trying to shield the lens, focus on the tree itself, and I'm just going to do a vertical panorama. I really want to get these branches stretching out. Okay, I'm going to be super quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the camera away. If it comes out, it comes out. Time will tell. So I'm taking some refuge under this amazing beech tree here, but I am soaked to the skin. But as they say, it doesn't go any further than that, does it? So we're not going to worry, but I am pretty cold. So I just want to leave you with one more silly mistake that I still make to this day, and it really frustrates me, and that's walking past great light when I'm on my way to another destination that I've got in mind. And it's quite frustrating. I do it a lot. And you know, I'll see something amazing, some great light, but I think, oh, you know, I've only got an hour, I want to get to this particular spot that I've got in mind to shoot, when actually there's no guarantees that my destination is going to work out. And really what I should do is concentrate on what I see at the time. So yeah, don't walk past things that look amazing, just get the camera out and shoot them. I'm telling that to myself because yeah, I really do need to pay attention to that, because it's one of those things that just frustrates me. I get a little bit blinkered sometimes, and yeah, I just want to get to my destination that I've got in mind. So yeah, that's definitely a message to myself as well as everybody else. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this week's video. I'm going to go home, get the fire on, and yeah, warm the fingers up. But what an incredible day. Really unexpected as well. We didn't know it was going to snow at all until, yeah, yesterday afternoon. So absolutely amazing. Ran around this morning, got the kit together and just got out here. So I do hope you enjoyed this rather wet and cold video today. Anyway, if you did enjoy it, you might like the one that's at the top here, and over on the other side you'll find links to my landscape photography workshops, which yeah, are always being updated. Anyway, until next week, take care. I hope to see you again very soon.